Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are absolutely excited today. We have Don Handston with us, who has been a business owner for over 35 years in the Chicagoland area, and his customers just like and appreciate his frankness and tell it like it is philosophy. He's seen the highs and the lows of businesses come out stronger for it. Don, I want to welcome you to the show.
Hi, Marcus. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I appreciate you spending time with our listeners today. So let's jump right into it. You've got something really kind of cool, a new philosophy, not a new philosophy, but new to the world. Tell us about the 30-day contract and how you envision this helping, people around the world.
Well, the 30-day contract originally started with relationships. And what a 30-day contract does is it's a different look at how you create and what type of relationships you have. And it's really about creating positive experience and fun. And so with a 30-day contract, it's more or less putting it out there that within a relationship, typically the best part of that relationship is in the first 30 days. After that, the everyday humdrum problems come into play, and it doesn't get to be so much fun and sometimes problematic. And the longer the relationships go on, sometimes it's more problematic. And typically it's because maybe you're not with the correct person, or maybe you're just with somebody to have fun. But the 30-day contract, it's all about being upfront and telling somebody, hey, I'm very interested in spending some time with you, but I really don't want it to go beyond 30 days. And there will be some sort of attractiveness to that because most people don't have the balls to say, let's say a man doesn't have the balls to say it. A woman, she's too emotional to say something like that, afraid to hurt people's feelings. And in my neck of the woods, I've felt success through business by being extremely honest, brutally honest, and, candid, whatever word you want to use. And the more honest you are, the more you attract the type of people that you want to be with, as far as, clients in our business even, but like in a relationship, you're frank with somebody, it kind of puts them back on their heels. It kind of says, oh, wait a minute, I'm not so much in control. This person is not only deciding whether or not they want to spend some time with me, but they're not interested in spending more time than that with me. Maybe they don't realize what a quality person I am or what I have to offer. And so a lot of times that other person is going to be trying 10 times as hard to make the other person happy and have fun, and everybody's going to enjoy the experience. So that's the overall gist of it. But it's being extremely frank. It's telling people, hey, I'm interested in having fun and creating some memories in my life, but I'm not interested in going into the problematic parts of life. I mean, that's kind of, I guess you could say candy coating the overall of it. But, the
30,000-mile view of it.
Exactly right. What it does is it helps people start not worrying about hurting people's feelings. If you ever hurt people's feelings, if you're able to be frank and you hurt people's feelings, at the end of the day, it's probably not the person for you anyways. And then the people that have to be right, they're not going to want any part of it. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've utilized this for years. Right now I'm in a relationship, but for years I utilized this, and I told some buddies about it. And I'm like, you got to put out the 30-day contract with women. And they said, there's no way that works. And can I be frank in this interview?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I wouldn't want you to be any other way.
Okay. Basically, what it does is it puts you in a power position. So, like, if you're a male, okay, a woman is usually in control, whether a man wants to think he's in control or not, because they have one saying, and that's called the power of the pussy. Okay, the power of the pussy, it hits a man somewhere where they're not thinking straight. And all they want to do is get in control of that, which really means the woman's in control of the relationship. And things go south. So, a lot of times, women may do things that would make a man desire or want them. And a lot of it's the hard to get bullshit. A lot of it's all this crap. And a lot of times guys go through all of this stuff just to get what they want. And then when they get what they want, either they get locked in and they're in a bad relationship, or they realize it wasn't what they wanted in the first place. So, a lot of times it's not necessarily the right fit for people. So, and it's not just for the man, it's for the woman too. So if the man says, hey, I'm willing to spend 30 days with you, and we can do whatever you want, have whatever, depending on what type of income or lifestyle you have, travel or have sex or do things, just be completely above board with what you want to do to have fun, laugh, enjoy food, just have a great time. Who's not going to like that experience? It's going to be a positive experience. Toward the end of the 30 days, obviously the person needs to be reminded, hey, you only have a remaining X amount of days left in this, and then we're done, and there's no contract renewals. And what that does is those reminders make that person even pick up their game more. They're going to try to be the person that you want them to be, and they're going to have fun. And once in a while, people don't have to try to be the person that you want them to be. They just are. But you never know that in the typical environment that we're in, because everybody's so busy blowing smoke up everybody else's asses, and being a fake person right in the beginning of the relationship, okay, to make the other person desire them. It's kind of like the bait and switch, or the, throwing the hook out there. It's like the woman that works out and speaks about things that the man might want to hear. And all of a sudden they get in a relationship and she puts on a bunch of weight. She's really not interested in exercising, even though she seemed like she was. She's got her own opinion, which is not anything like she portrayed in the beginning. And it's the same thing for men as well. So I'm writing this book on the behalf of men, but to be quite honest with you, this could be for women too. How many men would say no? A woman that's so confident and she's able to come across and say, hey, listen, you know what? You're cool. I'd like to spend some time with you. We could be exclusive for 30 days and we can do whatever you want and have fun and be honest and whatever types of things you want to do, whatever types of sex, whatever you want to do. How many men are going to say no? Even a man that would believe that he's right. Even a man that would believe that he's out of the league for this woman, the confidence that this woman's going to exude is going to be extremely attractive to that man. So really what it does is it really helps people in life. The controversial end on this thing is going to be, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, that's taking advantage of people, because that's the common consensus right now is if you're honest, you're taking advantage of people, which is absolutely wrong. If you're honest, there's no hidden agendas, right?
Right. There's no games. There's no society taboos. There's no bullshit. You're being honest and transparent, and the person can say yes or they can say no. It's not like you're twisting someone's arm, but you're just being upfront and frank with them, which I think a lot of people don't have the confidence, whether you're a man or a woman, to have that kind of confidence, because we do live in a very, very fear-based society, a very lack mentality, so to speak. So therefore, we're always worried about losing something that we never had in the first place versus gaining something that could be just magical if you would just step up to the plate.
Yeah, absolutely, Marcus. Like you said, you can't lose what you never had in the first place. That's the first thing. You can't ever have what you don't ask for. That's the second thing. And the third thing is, if you can implement this system that I'm going to outline in the book, you're going to gain confidence within yourself, and you're not going to fear rejection, because you're going to realize that what comes with rejection, okay, is confidence, right? The more rejection you get, the more confident you get, okay? It's kind of like success. The person that... It's almost like a paradox, because you don't think that you're going to get confidence. You think you're going to get shot down and it's going to drive you deeper, but you're right. The more no's you get, it's really about getting to the yes. And the more no's you go through, the more yeses you'll get, which means you're more successful. And then before you know it, yeah, exactly. Before you know it, you don't even care if you get a no. You almost want to get a no, because then you can move on to the next person. It's kind of like sales, right? Give me a no, just so I can move on to my next potential client. And let me tell you something. Every person that has succeeded in life has failed 100 times over. There is not a person on earth that has succeeded that never failed. There is not a person. So why are we afraid of failure? We should be looking forward to failure so we can succeed. And there's a lot more to this book than just going out and having a great time and getting, the confidence and maybe pussy and getting whatever it is that you want in life. It's even more than that. It's about identifying opportunities out there and identifying the good in people and what you want in life, and the idea that you can get in life what it is that you ask for and that you want. And too many people run around in this world with things that they don't want, and they wonder why they got all these problems. And it's because of their lack of confidence.
Yeah,
and so,
they're afraid to ask for what they want. Yeah.
So that's kind of an overall view of it. Now, the book may seem a little bit more skanky than that, okay? It's going to be like, you know, going to throw the potential for rejection out there, you know? You're going to say, hey, it's not for everybody, and I understand it. This isn't your deal, you know? But this is kind of how I do it.
It's definitely going to be controversial. I mean, some might say you're being a male chauvinist pig, or you're trying to take advantage of people or control people. But really, in all honesty, you're trying to help people and get them to be more honest, more transparent, and make the world be more real, which is what I'm hearing.
Exactly right. So, I mean, you see how everything gets twisted around nowadays anyway. So,
oh, my God. Yes.
It's about just being, like you say, completely transparent. And at the end of the day, you're going to get what you want. And whether or not a woman likes the fact that her contract does not get renewed, she's going to have probably the most memorable 30 days in her life. I mean, unless you got nothing to offer a girl, if she has a wonderful time and you have great sex and everyone's letting their hair down and having a good time and being honest, and this is what I need and this is what I want, and this is where we're going to go and this is what we're going to eat, who's not going to have a good time? And if they're not going to have a good time, good riddance. You only got 30 days that you're spoiled with this person. And as a matter of fact, you can terminate that contract before the 30 days if you so desire. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, I mean, it's really a good way of looking at it, because some people are like, oh, my God, should I talk to her? Like, if you talk to her, like, it's a lifelong, you know, thing. Oh, if I talk to her, I'm going to get married to her, and I'm going to have kids with her, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life. But you're just going to go talk to her. What the hell's going on?
Why be so serious, you know?
Like, who gives a shit? Go talk, you know, if you're comfortable talking to her, go talk to her. You don't want to talk to her, don't talk to her. Who cares? It's the same thing, woman on man. I mean, it's this whole concept is designed and written by a man, but it could be used by a woman. And my thing, when I used it, it was more not only creating confidence, it was more about sex, you know, getting great sex for 30 days, it blew the doors off everybody, me, the person I was involved with, because everybody was straight up, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is what I want to try. There was nothing hidden. But it doesn't have to be just about sex. It can be about a lot of other things. And I think a lot of people are afraid to take off the veil and say, hey, you know what? Maybe this sounds quirky, but, you know, I like this kind of food, or I like to do these types of things, or it doesn't even have to be about sex. A lot of people are very uncomfortable with things that they like because they don't think it fits in with the norm. And let me tell you something, okay? There is no such thing as norm. The more not normal you are, probably the more real you are, and probably the more people feel like that than you would know, but just people don't have the confidence to say it if it doesn't fit in with what society says is good or bad.
Well, that's the thing. Absolutely. And there's a difference between norm and natural, because norm is what society tells you. Natural is just our innate being of being human. You look at countries like in Europe, people aren't ashamed of their bodies. You know, nudity is not a big thing. It's on television. It's on beaches. It's whatever. There isn't this taboo around sex or the kinds of sex you want or all those kinds of things. And in this country, for some reason, maybe it's because of, you know, society, maybe it was because we were started by a bunch of Quakers or whatever, that we have these taboos, which then make it almost like, oh, we're not supposed to talk about this. Well, of course you're supposed to talk about it. It's the most natural thing there is. Yeah, you want to be with somebody. You want to be intimate with them. But like you say, intimacy isn't just about sex. Sex is a big piece of that. But there's connection and doing things you like to do and spending time doing the things you like to do, whether it's travel, whether it's going for a walk on the beach, whether it's sitting in front of a bonfire or going, you know, fishing on a lake, whatever it is being honest with each other. What is it that you want? What is it you want to like? Finding those commonalities and then creating those intimate magic moments across the spectrum.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. And, you know,
that's awesome.
You know, you talk about clothing, right? You talk about nudity and clothing, okay? We've been going to nude resorts for years, topless, nude, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, I don't understand why that's a big deal, because it's the person, okay? It's not disguised with clothing, okay? And if you're embarrassed of your body, then maybe you ought to do something about it. That's my theory. You should be proud of your body. If you're not, like a swimsuit model, be proud of it, whatever it may be. Hey, I eat a lot. Hey, I don't exercise. Be proud. This is you. You don't have to fit in what these books and what the scales say that you need to be. So we're so busy trying to fit in that people are afraid to be honest these days. And that's why I think this book is going to be so impactful. And because it's going to be a little skanky, it's going to seem a little, but it's going to be like, wow, it's kind of refreshing, like to actually think and feel like you're free, like you're able to make your own decisions, like you're able to fail, like you're able to tell people what you want, what you don't want, what you're able to tell people that you like and don't like, and sexual ideas and everything. Like Carrie likes football, okay? Most women don't like football. Most women might think that a man wouldn't think she was sexy if she liked football. But we're together because we're both brutally honest. At the end of the day, that's our connection. But and as far as this book is being written, it's really about creating great segments in your life. And I'm going to encourage people not to renew their 30-day contracts. Now, down the road, after you did a bunch of them and you went along and you saw it, in retrospect, you might say, hey, you know what? Month number 3 or whatever, however you want to detail it, this girl or whatever, that was a really good fit for me. There's no saying you can't call her up and say, hey, I was thinking about you. We had a great time. Maybe rekindle that relationship, or maybe you don't. But don't be worried. Don't ever worry about rejection, because sometimes rejection is the best thing going. I'd rather somebody tell me no than yeah, because I don't have to waste my time. Not yes with a bunch of restrictions, Oh, but. No oh buts. I'd love to, or I wouldn't want that for anything. I'd rather that, you're a dork. I can't stand you. I didn't have that much fun. Be straight up. I don't really care. I have thick skin, and I'm sure everybody doesn't have thick skin, but we need to really figure out how to get our skin a little bit thicker so we can deal with rejection, so we can deal with success in the same breath.
Right. And like you say, transparent and brutally honest. It's a oxymoron, because if you're being honest, you don't have to be mean. Now, some people are, and, that's where the brutally part comes into it. But in all honesty, if you're being honest, I'd rather someone be honest in my face than to tell them, blow smoke up my ass or give me a bunch of bullshit just because that's what they think I want to hear, versus telling me how it is so that I can make a better decision about which path I want to go down.
It's very refreshing to me when somebody tells me the truth. A lot of times I can tell that they're telling me the truth even if I don't know that person, because if it's something that may not align with how I think and they know that, typically, I know it's the truth, because most people are afraid to say something that doesn't align with what they think that you think, if that makes any sense. So it's going to be a fun book. It's going to be interesting. I think that if it gains traction, I think that people are going to recommend it to others, and I think that people are really going to want to read this and get some insight on it. The 30-day contract, I've had friends do it, and even guys that were studs try it, and they didn't really have the balls to completely implement it. They implemented a little bit, and they're like, yeah, you're right. And you take away the power to pussy. That's all they got control over you with. And then they implement a little bit more, and they're like, you're a freaking genius. This stuff works. I go, the reason it works is because nobody does it. That's why it works. If everyone did it, maybe it wouldn't work. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if you're being honest and transparent, it would work. It wouldn't be such a big thing. It's just a big aha, because it would be so commonplace, I think. But, who knows?
Right.
We'll see. Maybe we'll find out in 10 years when this kind of shifts the scales with relationships. And, someone told me once, dating is about finding what you don't want as much as it is finding what you do want.
That's a common theme in life. I think it's the same thing with business. As a matter of fact, I think the more important thing is to find clients you don't want or projects you don't want, rather than the ones that you do want, because then it becomes very apparent what you don't want when you can streamline what you want. And then it becomes simple. But when you just got a giant spectrum and you're not real sure what you want, what you don't want, I think you got to really go through the process and figure out the criteria. What is it that you want? So the only way you find that out is find out what you don't want. And you're going to find that out because there's going to be a lot more shit that you don't want than you do want, whether it's a relationship, whether it's something in business. And so it's very interesting. And it's kind of like the best question asked is the one that people say, this may be a stupid question, okay? The stupid question is probably the best question because you think it's stupid, but what you're doing is you're unveiling something that you're thinking and you're wondering about, and if you don't ask it, you'll never get the answer. So that's really the most important question. It's a stupid, but this may be a stupid question. That's the most important question you can ask. It's the same thing. You see a supermodel and you think there's no way. Well, how do you know if you don't ask, right? Right. Model shows up at a party, supermodel. You don't get down, you sit down and start talking to her and seeing who she is and what she likes and ask her, okay? I guarantee you'll never fucking get a date with her. But if you do ask her, who knows what the chances are, but I bet you the chances are a lot higher than you think because a lot of those really hot chicks, they're not as seeked out as people think they are. There's a lot of really hot women that I know in life that very few men even ask them out. I knew a girl that was a beauty pageant winner. Miss, what was she, Continental? I don't know. She was the best looking woman I've ever seen in my life. And sexy. Not many people would ask her out. They were way too intimidated. And why is that? Because they're confident. It doesn't matter if the guy's a stud, he makes a lot of money, or whatever. He knows how to fuck. It doesn't matter. He didn't have the confidence because he figures, oh, that's a for sure no. Well, guess what? I want to figure out for sure. Is this a no? Because I'm okay with the no. Get out of here. I hate you. Okay, cool. You know? Right. But you'd be surprised. You'd be pleasantly surprised. And a lot of guys that don't have a lot of confidence, if this gives them confidence, it doesn't matter what you look like, how much money you got. It's got to do with your confidence. And as you have confidence, you will attract people. And when you attract people, you're going to get what you want in life. You know what I mean? You're going to get happiness and you're going to get women that you'd never dreamed of. And you're going to create a lot of moments in life with a lot of fun people, maybe a lot of good sex, maybe a lot of hot chicks. Who knows? Whatever it is that you're looking for. But you're not going to get what you're looking for if you don't look for it. That's right. I know this is a general synopsis of this book, but it's really what it boils down to is be straight up, talk to somebody, get to know them a little bit. I mean, obviously you don't just pull up to somebody and say, oh yeah, you want a 30-day contract. That ain't going to work. Right. You know, talk to them a little bit. You got to be comfortable. Hey, how are you? You know, talk to them. See what their name is, what's going on, what they like, what they don't like. But don't use the usual content of a conversation like most people do. Like, use something a little bit unusual and get talking to people, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what works and what doesn't work. But, you know, once you get going with somebody and you start putting it out there that, hey, you know what? This isn't a forever thing. This is something that, you know, there's a shelf life to it. All of a sudden, at the end of the day, what do we want? We want what we can't have, right? So if a chick says, I want a relationship, that doesn't mean that they're out. That doesn't mean you duck out, because you're going to tell them that they can't have a relationship with you. Whether they want you or whether they don't from first, you know, sight, they're going to say, this man is telling me I can't have a relationship with him? Screw that. I'm going to show him, you know, with a stupid 30-day contract that this guy can't get enough of me.
Do everything in their power to prove them wrong.
Prove them wrong. And then when it's all said and done, if you showed her a good time and you gave her some great orgasms and some good laughs, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how the tables turn. And it all bounces back on the thing called confidence, right? And there's only one way to get it. You have to build it. It's kind of like muscle, right? Muscle on your body. You don't get it if you don't build it, right? Right. So that's true. A lot of people think, oh, he's born with confidence. Hey, confidence works in everything. It works in sports. It works in relationships. It works in business. It works in life, on everything. But you have to work on it. Knowledge, everything. I mean, if you have confidence, if you're a batter in a baseball field and you have confidence you're going to rip the leather off that ball, chances are you're going to be a great hitter. But if you have no the ball's coming too fast, the guy can pitch too hard, it's got a great curveball, you're going to stink. Right. So it's a lot of this is about confidence, life. At the end of the day, you were talking about like the sports, Muhammad Ali, you know, saying, I'm the greatest. No, I'm the greatest. That was his mantra. And it exuded not just in the ring, but in his entire life. Exactly right. Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. Exactly right. So it's all good stuff. And is there anything else I can tell you about the book?
Well, Don, let me ask you, looking back, were there any signs or clues that you had this self-confidence gene in your DNA or this unconventional philosophy in your DNA?
Absolutely not. 1,000% no. And the reason why I say that is when I was in high school, I'm a big man now. I'm 6'4", about 260-pound man, and I'm not fat. Trust me on that. So I'm very confident in everything else. But when I was young, I was small, okay? Different era. I'm a little bit older. Used to get the crap beat out of me in school. Girls, I went to an all-boys high school, okay? Girls, I didn't even try and talk to them because they wouldn't talk to me. I was a little like a child when all the other guys were men, okay? Would get beat up. Never had dates. I didn't start dating girls until 19. I think that's when first time I got laid. But I worked on it, and I had to work on it. I wasn't that good at sports until I was like 19. Then once I was 19, all of a sudden, I'm great at sports. All of a sudden, I'm able to pick up chicks. All of a sudden, I'm in great shape. I'm bigger. But I had to work on it. I was working out, and I was just working on it. I was talking to all the women I could, and I started my business at 19. And trust me, when you start your business at 19, you are not successful, okay? It takes a long time. And so you get a lot more no's than you get yeses. And I learned, hey, it's okay to get no's. And now I'm an older guy. No's, I don't mind no's. As a matter of fact, I'd prefer a no over some wishy-washy bullshit. You know what I mean? I want to know what's up, and I'll tell people what's up. So by telling people what's up almost ensures the fact that they're going to either tell you what's up or they're going to bow out. And both of those are a great deal because you get rid of the people that you don't want around you and you attract the people that you do want around you. And it's kind of like a common theme in life. So was I born with confidence? No. Played football. I was the worst kid on the football team. Baseball, probably the worst kid on the baseball team. Played hockey on the lower level. As I got older, I was the best guy in the hockey team. It really had everything to do with confidence, okay? So the whole thing is don't get it unless you work on it. It's kind of like being knowledgeable. If you don't work on your knowledge, you're not going to be knowledgeable. You don't have experience, you're not going to be experienced, right?
Right.
It really starts making life fun once you can build up that confidence. And I think right now people are getting beat up by all that's going on, media and all this nonsense that's going on. They're getting beat up. They're getting less confident than ever. They're second-guessing themselves. They're second-guessing everything in life. Right. And people need, right now more than ever, people need to be around positive people, happy, around people that are telling the truth. I think it's important, very important. Some people will not like the fact that you're being honest because you're not following what they believe. And that's
you're not being politically correct or you're not being sensitive or whatever. And again, being honest doesn't mean that you're being mean or cruel. It's just you're being honest. You can be honest and still have a heart. You can still be compassionate. You can still be sensitive to issues in the world and people in the world. But being honest, that's where it's at.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And the more honest you are, the more you create honesty around you. And the more you create that, the happier you are. There's no guessing games, you know? Even with my 30-day contract, okay? There's no guessing games. I mean, they'll try and do guessing games like, oh, he's really going to extend this, you know, watch, and then I'll tell him no. Or I really want this to extend or whatever. There's just going to be a lot of different thought processes, but there's really no guessing game. You told them what the deal was. You got to follow through with the deal. Okay. And then I think it makes you more of a credible being, you know, but if you're going to just fall back and say, oh, we could spend a couple more days together, you're not showing any backbone. You're not really showing that you're a man that does what he says he's going to do, and you're going to wind up in a failed relationship anyway. So, you know, you have a great time, great sex, she's super hot, she's super into you, you're into her, and you extend it. And you say, you know what, fuck it, we're going to spend another 10 days together, another month can't hurt. Okay? Right. Well, basically, it's just showing you don't stick to your guns. It takes away everything that you tried to create.
Right.
And so that's why you can't go back on it. And that's why I say, if you go down the road and you go you try it a bunch more times and you decide, hey, back then I had a great time with this person and you want to reach out, that might be a different story. At least you're a man of your word, and you'll be well received or you won't. But either way, who cares?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So
that's interesting.
This book is going to be really fun to write. It's a great concept. Some people are going to get their arms around it and love it, and some people are going to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about, or this guy's full of shit. And either way, I don't care. Whatever you think. I'm one of those guys. You like me, you don't like me. Either you love me or you hate me, and either way, I'm good with it. That's how I am in life, and you want to be my friend and you like me, great. Okay, you don't? I got enough friends anyway. So
there you go.
It's life's too short to be worried about the unknown. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Or making up stories in your head that never come true. So Don, you described the person you were before you got the confidence, and you mentioned, you started working out as one way to help build the confidence. Were there other things that you did that you worked on to get to that confidence level?
Absolutely. I've been working on betterment my whole life. I shouldn't say my whole life, since my life was always good. When things started getting sour, I really worked on it. So probably in the last 15 years, I've worked on my knowledge, okay? I've been learning. I read immensely. I work on my spiritual side of things and being happy and creating better habits, whether it be eating, exercising, sleeping, stretching, being around the correct people, being around positive people, being positive, creating betterment in all aspects, monetarily, physically, mentally, spiritually. And as you start bettering yourself, okay, what happens is you change one habit to get a little bit better at one thing, a lot of other habits fall in line. And so as things get better, you can never see yourself going backwards. And so you never want things to get worse. You always want things to get better. I've been doing other things other than what I do for my day-to-day business, and I do things that make me happy. And I don't do anything that I don't want to do. It's really going through the betterment process, and especially nowadays, there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on, and I just stay disconnected with that stuff, and I stay connected with all positive stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in sports, I still train every single day. So, yeah, I'm all about the betterment. But it's really helped me, especially through these tough times these days. I see a lot of people are not in a good place, and I'm in a great place. I find compelled that I need to share some of my ideas, and that's why I'm writing this book, and I'm going to be starting a podcast. I'm going to be streaming soon. So, yeah. That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you were growing up, you mentioned 19, like 19 was a magic year. I remember being 19, and it was one of the greatest years in my life as well. Was there something that sparked it or inspired you or that made you the decision that, you know what, I need to do this for myself. I need more confidence. Was there something that happened or an experience or something that was the catalyst?
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of it had to do with my physical growth. Okay. My physical growth, I went from one of the smaller, underdeveloped boys or whatever you want to, young men, to one of the larger, more developed men. And it kind of made me feel a little bit more superior because I had gotten beaten down for so much. All of a sudden I started getting respect, and I got respect not only because I was bigger, but I was working out and I was taking care of myself, and I was taking self-defense classes. And all of a sudden, I realized the betterment gave me a lot more people respected me because of it. So I think that was the key to the 19. And then all of a sudden, I was more desirable to women. Okay? So my confidence, it started slow. And then it got a little bit better. And then all of a sudden, but I had gotten beaten down so much as a younger person that how much more are you going to beat a guy down?
Right.
So when you feel like you're beat up, like how could you possibly get beat up anymore? Trust me when I tell you that anything that happens to you could be better. And so once you create one better habit or one better thing in your life, which coincides with this book, the sky's the limit. The sky is the freaking limit. Like, you create, all of a sudden you go from a guy that doesn't talk to women or doesn't have any women to have sex with or talk to, or they're afraid. And all of a sudden it creates a little bit of confidence. It may change their whole life completely around in a different direction. And so that's the thing. And I think sometimes people think, oh, it's too late for things to get better. Well, you know what? You can never get to the surface of the water until you touch rock bottom, right? So if you feel you're at rock bottom, it's time to push off. Time to
you got nothing to lose.
Exactly right. But you got to keep that with you. You got to keep it. Hey, there is nothing to lose. How are you going to lose what you didn't have? And like we talked about earlier in the interview, but it's the same thing. What do you have to lose? But when you realize that you can't lose something that you never had, you realize you're always in that same predicament. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're in a bad predicament or not. You cannot lose what you don't have, and you got nothing to lose.
Right.
And
exactly.
As long as you have the idea of betterment in the back of your mind, you have absolutely nothing to lose. Now, if you don't have betterment in your mind, obviously it goes in the opposite direction. So it's kind of like using a 30-day contract to deceive people. That's not what it's for. It's kind of like if you're exercising to get in better shape, okay, that's great. But if you decide, hey, I want to get high on drugs, okay, it's not that you don't have anything to lose. You're deteriorating yourself. You're going to go in the opposite direction. You can't use any of these things. Everything can be perverted. Every idea can be perverted. And the thing is that you don't want that to happen. When you do any of this stuff in life, including this 30-day contract, you're not out to hurt people. You're out to actually enhance their lives. You're out to enjoy your life. But while you're enjoying your life, it's not taking advantage of somebody because you're being transparent. It's about making their life better as well. And at the end of the day, a lot of people may say, oh, if you do this, girls are going to hate you. They're not going to hate you. They're not going to hate you because you didn't do anything to harm them.
Right.
And so
you're being honest and transparent with them. I mean, that's,
yes.
You're not playing games. I mean, if you're playing games with them, that's a different story, but that's not what this is. You're literally telling them, this is what I want, this is what I'm offering. You interested or not? They can say yes or no. There you go. There you go.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Let's dive a little deeper on a couple of these topics. What do you feel are the biggest myths out there when it comes to relationships, dating, staying happy, having confidence in connection with the opposite sex?
Well, I would say some of the biggest myths are, you can't have sex right away. You can't have sex. Or, I mean, it used to be you can't have sex to get married. Then it was, I can't have sex with you till I know you better. Or I can't, all this stuff. You know what? If you want to have sex, and the other person wants to have sex, you go have sex, okay? That's a myth. That's a bunch of shit. I think that what that does is it curbs a lot of people from having a good time. And, and they're waiting. They're waiting and waiting and waiting. And what does that do except waste time, as far as I'm concerned? So I'd say that.
Well, I think there's a lot of apps. I mean, what you say is very true. I mean, if that wasn't true, apps like Tinder and Grindr and hookups and all these things wouldn't be out there because that's what people are looking for. Hey, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm just looking to meet with somebody and have sex. So there you go. You haven't even met them physically. They're behind some profile online, digitally. Right.
Actually, I tried one of those online dating things years ago, probably 2008. I thought it was absolutely the worst thing I ever did. I'm not saying it is now. I don't know anything about it, but everybody wants you to see what they want you to see, and they hide what they don't want you to see. And some of the people that look the best online are the absolute worst, okay?
Right.
And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, a lot of the people that you'd never notice are probably the quality people. And when I did that, I didn't do a lot of it, but of the people I met, so many shitbags. Did they look good in pictures? Did they make themselves look good and sound good? Yeah, it's part of the deception. It was absolutely the opposite of 30-day contract. It was extremely non-transparent. extremely phony who they were, what they looked like. Well, some of them even had pictures of like models, and then you'd meet these chicks, and it wasn't the chick. Trust me. I mean, I'm like, okay, like what's the point here, you know? And
right.
so,
I can never understand why people would do that, because you eventually have to meet the person. So, and, you know, it's like guys, they would say, you know, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a surgeon, I'm an airline pilot, when you know that's bullshit. Eventually, if you're doing it just you play games, you know, I suppose, but it's like, come on, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass.
well, exactly right. So I'll be honest with you. I'm terrible in pictures. If I was a woman, I'd be like, this guy's a doof, you know? And
right.
I'll be honest with you, but as far as me with girls, I am so comfortable, okay? Am I going to sit here and tell you I'm a freaking stud? No. But I'm going to tell you that I'm so confident that if I meet a girl, I will attract them 1,000 times quicker than I would with a picture on an app, okay?
Right.
Picture on an app, I'm not getting what I'm looking for, even if I was just looking for looks. So that's why I say that your confidence is within you. It's not within, you know, here's my car and here's where I live and here's how much money I make and here's the best picture I can find of myself or an actor or model that looks like me or some bullshit. You're meeting a person, and at the end of the day, what creates attraction is energy. If you got positive energy, if you have confident energy, if you have good energy, even people that are in serious relationships are going to be attracted to you. Some picture of some chick that looks hot.
Right.
All right, it looks hot. Yeah, I want to bang her. But what's her energy like? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I always like meeting people. I like meeting people. I'm not saying that an app isn't a good way to meet somebody. Hey, it gets you meeting people, at least if you're not getting out of the house. But I don't think that that's the way to find your dream person. And at the end of the day, maybe you're not looking to be single and get laid every night of the week or every week of the month or every month of the year or however you want to look at it. Maybe you really are looking for a relationship. But how do you know what you want if you don't know what you don't want?
Right.
That's really the gist
sense.
of the 30-day contract. You may meet some women that, you know, you could look back and say, you know, I could have married that chick. She was so awesome. Well, really all you knew was the 30 days. So do you really know that you could have married that chick in 30 days? No, you were sucking and fucking and traveling and eating and drinking and laughing and sharing all the good times. You don't know until you get yourself involved monetarily in the day-to-day humdum before you can honestly know if it's a person that you could be married to.
Right.
Or ever have a relationship with.
Exactly. But I think the fact that you started the relationship, or the start of the connection, experience, being open, honest, and transparent lays a solid foundation for the right two people to continue on eventually into a relationship that can last a lifetime. Or as long as they want it to.
Absolutely, rather than the false criteria that's put out there. And I mean, that happens. I mean, think about all the times that you've dated. You met these women. It seemed like the women in your dreams for the first 30 days, right? And then after that, where did it go? Went down to shitter. You know what I mean?
It definitely wasn't. Yeah, it definitely had a sliding scale when it came to certain aspects of the relationship, for sure.
You were sold a false bill of sale, right? I mean, it wasn't what the package described. I think we all find that out real quick, because who wants to be the person that the other person doesn't desire? And I think it's just human nature, right?
Right.
And you're trying to fit in with the other person. But if you're just honest and say, hey, this is what's up, I think that's what creates a lot of the attractiveness. And I think that people don't always want somebody to be exactly like them and think like them and agree with them. I think that's why they say opposites attract, right?
Right. Well, you know, absolutely. You got to have some common ground, but it doesn't have to be all common ground, for sure. And it's interesting you say that, you know, the betterment part. There's a saying that I learned early on from Jim Rohn, who is probably considered one of the most influential business philosophers of the 20th century. He said, I'll take care of me for you if you'll take care of you for me. And
so true.
I'm going to be the best I can be for myself, but also for you, but you be the best you can be for yourself and then for me as well. So
absolutely. I mean, in order for you to love somebody else, you have to love yourself. In order for you to take care of somebody else, you need to be able to take care of you, right? And so it's kind of like if two people are drowning, let's say they're scuba diving, right? Even in classes, that's how you get the air in you, okay?
Right.
Make sure that you're okay so you can help save the other person. But if you just take the air and you give it to the other person and you're the one trying to help them up, you're probably both going to drown. It's kind of like the guy that fell off the boat and the guy dives in, save him that can't swim. Okay?
Right.
The same theory applies. Or when you're on a plane and they tell you, put your mask on if the plane drops and then put your child's mask on. It's the same thing. You need to be able to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. So some people that say that they only care about themselves, you got to be careful with that one because you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're hitting on the same point, but that's so true.
Yeah.
And,
yep. I think it's that old, adage, though so many people have had some kind of religion doctrinated to them, it's better to give than to receive. Well, who said that? Someone that's looking to get something. I think it's better, just as good to give as it is to receive. And if you're not willing to receive, how are you ever going to be able to give? I think you're right on the money with all of that.
Yeah, the giving, receiving thing. I think the more you give out, though, I do believe that you receive more than what you give out.
Absolutely. But one is not better than the other. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, selfish people, there's a limit to what they'll ever gain in life.
Correct. Well, because they're putting out a different energy. They're being selfish and they have an ulterior motive. But in the truest sense of, I'm going to be open and honest with you, and it is just as good to give to that person as you are to receive from that person.
You're bringing up a good point. So a lot of life, talk about selfishness. A lot of life, people would think about selfishness in a monetary value. Well, selfishness, you see, what people don't realize is selfishness isn't about money is the least important thing, and people all believe that it's the most important thing. And so selfishness is thought, knowledge, perspective, experience, you name it. It's with pretty much anything, kind things. It kind of reminds me of, the days when I went broke. I was wealthy, then I went broke. And when I went broke, I had to really look back. I got real spiritual and figured out life. And I figured out that what is the most important thing in life. And we've talked about this before, and it is time. Time is the one thing you can't replace. And so time to do things you like to do. Time to be around the people you want to be around. Time to just live and be happy and create betterment in your life. And I've realized that the true people of wealth are the ones that have the most time to do the things that they want to do, which obviously you need money for that too. But if you're so busy worrying about money, then money takes over and you have no time. And so are you really creating wealth? And I think, no, you're creating the opposite. So it's the same thing with the selfishness thing. And be very giving with your thoughts. Be giving with your honesty. Be giving with opportunity. Be giving with the things that don't have anything to do with money as well as money. I think that that's really the key to it as well. So there's a lot of different points that this book will hit on, but like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun to write. I'm not quite sure how blunt I'm going to be about it. I may be blunt for a few chapters, and then I may soften it up to show where the overall idea is very beneficial in life for all people.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to reading the book and seeing when it comes out. And as I understand it, you've got a website, donhandston.com. Would that be where you'd suggest people to find out more about the 30-day contract, about the book, when it's going to be released, and more information?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Marcus.
And I think you mentioned that you're going to have a podcast as well coming out. Is that going to be also accessible on the website?
It will be. I haven't put together my criteria on that one yet. But, yeah, I'm in the process of setting that up, and I can't wait to do that. I'm really looking forward to doing that, and it's going to be as fun and beneficial for me as it will be for our listeners. So I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Me too. Looking forward to hearing that when it comes out. So I'm sure we'll be talking again. And again, thank you so much for your time today and sharing a lot of, I would say golden nuggets, as well as some nuggets that people probably didn't even realize that were out there, that some aha moments for some of our listeners today. So I appreciate the breath of fresh air and the frankness and the transparency and honesty that you shared with all of our listeners today.
Beautiful. I appreciate the interview. It sounds great, Marcus. And we'll be talking soon, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Well, there you have it, folks, for this edition of the show. We'll see you next time on The Inside Track.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.